Luca Moretti. My family was my driving force. Everything I did was to uphold the Moretti name, to prove to my father that he could step down in peace. But I was hiding my true nature behind an easy smile and forced control. Then I met her, and she wanted me whole. Not part of me, but all of me. Galina Whitlock hadn't been what I was searching for, but she was the redemption I never knew I needed. Galina Whitlock. My mother was my driving force. She sacrificed her life so I could have mine. Everything I did was to right the wrongs of the healthcare system that failed her. I thought I had it all figured out, but then I met him, and everything I thought I knew began to unravel right before my eyes. Luca Moretti warmed his way into my life and heart, and now I needed him to help me pick up the pieces that were always meant to be shattered. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Bibliophile's Bookcase. I am your host, Erica the Bibliophile. So, we are here for part two of Asia Monique's Sinful saga, the Mafia Misfits, Lord. Um, and this book is called Sinful Redemption. Last book was Sinful Vow with Lucia's story and her husband Enzo. So now we're on to her twin story, Luca's, and his lady Galina. So, how does the book start? The book starts with Luca and his best friend, like slash brother Dante, going to family dinner. And Dante, he's the friend that is always eating something. Literally had a full plate of, like, I think pork chops and some pasta or something like that on the way to dinner. But they get in the car and he just makes a comment, Dante does, to Luca, like, how you doing? And he like, I'm good, I'm straight. And he was like, I'll tell mom that you're not taking care of yourself and that you sick again. And he's like, I just haven't been feeling good. Like, I've been feeling nauseous around food. Excuse me. And Dante makes the statement, sound like you're pregnant. And of course, he brushes it off, but then he's like, wait, I'm not pregnant, but somebody else is. And it's that twin, I forgot the name for it, but where they can feel each other's emotions and have like their same symptoms and all that type of stuff. So when he gets to his parents' house and his sister, like, she arrives after, he pulls her to the side and is like, son, you want to tell me? She's like, I don't know, is it? He like, are you pregnant? And she just looked at him like, how you know? And he's like, I have your morning sickness. And she bust out laughing. He's like, man, that shit ain't funny. When is it over? So she, laughs again. And it's like, this is payback for when you got shot. And basically, she felt that same pain. And he didn't bring it up to her, but this was a thought he said, where he definitely could have brought up when she was training to be a part of the Red Society. Like, he felt all those hits and things she took when they were disciplining her and trying to get her straight. But he's like, I would never throw that up in my sister's face. But he just nodded and was like, you got it. And him and Enzo, they're not the best of friends, but they're forming a relationship off the strength of Lucia because they both love her. Um, and so then we meet Galina, and Galina is she's almost done with her residency, to be a doctor. She doesn't have either of her parents. She never met, like, nobody talks about her father, and her mother died while giving birth to her. So while she's working, I wish I had this type of dedication, because even though it's just a story, it's like I know people like this in real life. It's like she's working to be a doctor, and she's also working on a bill where to help mothers. What am I trying to say? When the healthcare system fails them as she feel like they did her mother, she's working to right that wrong. And so she has a doctor, her name is Dr. Jones, who, she goes to and confides in and talks to about it. And Dr. Jones, she's encouraging her, like, keep going, keep striving, keep doing what you're doing. And then she asks her to step in her place and go to what was it? Like a gala coming up. And Galina knows all about it, but she never goes, and she knows that her aunt and uncle are going to be very upset. Well, more so her uncle, because her uncle is Dimitri. He's what is it called? The Pakan. I'm pretty sure I'm saying it wrong, but he's the leader of the Russian mafia because he's Russian. Um, And so she goes over to her aunt's house and tells her aunt, like, no, her aunt calls her on the phone. This is like, I ain't seen you in how long? And I'm thinking, like, as a doctor, like, baby, you not gonna see her. She, excuse me, she works late nights, and when she finally do have a day off, I'm pretty sure all she want to do is be in the bed. And with the fact that she working on this bit, mama is tired. So her, well, she stay in New Jersey, and the family stays in New York. It's like, baby, the chances of you seeing me, I'm so sorry, they're so slim. But anyway, she tells her, I'll see you Thursday for dinner. And I was like, no, you won't. Remember, we got Saturday, sorry. For dinner. She's like, no, you won't. Don't you know we got the thing? And she tells her, yeah, I know, I have to be there. I'm there in place of my boss. And the auntie was like, oh, your uncle ain't gonna like this, but I'll talk to him. And because there's basically mob people there, and it's just like nobody knows that they're related because they try to keep her away from that life. So it's just like, you don't need to be here. So anyway, we get to the gala, and she's there doing her rounds, and she sees her aunt and uncle who are talking to Luca at the time. So she comes through and is like, just thank you for your donation and thank you for all that you do for the healthcare system. And of course she catches Luca's eye. He's like, oh, who is she? And he don't know that they're related. So, she just says something and walks away. So she goes to the bar and she's not mingling with people, not really talking to people. That's not really her thing. So she's standing there thinking like, why the hell am I even here? So then Lucia comes up to her first, and they have a conversation about her dress, and then here comes Luca like, yeah, that is some dress. So that's their first encounter. And they leave. Ooh, and then she at work. Okay, because I want to fast forward a little bit. So she's leaving a shift at work, and the security guard stops her like, these flowers are for you. And I believe they were lilies or something like that, like something other than roses, which I appreciate because it's like roses are just so simple, even though they're beautiful. But roses at this point, they're just like so simple. Buy me something different. And so she's like, oh, okay. So then does she call him or he calls her? No, he calls her, I believe. And so they meet up for breakfast. Was it? Because I think she calls him. No, I cannot remember who calls her. I'm sorry. That's like bugging me. And it's like, thank you for the flowers. And then he pulls up on her in the parking lot. And it's like, let's go out for breakfast. So he hop in her passenger seat and she drives them to breakfast. And then he takes her out on a date. That's how it went. Okay, that's why I'm getting confused. Cause I was like, did it happen at breakfast or did it happen at dinner? But it happened at dinner. So he took her out to dinner. They had a great time. Chemistry is booming, banging. And as they're walking out, he notices like a car slow creeping. And it's like, nigga, I'm not fucking stupid. I know exactly what that means. So he told her, get your ass down. And before the car can even start shooting at them, they busting back. And valet was bringing his truck around. So while the car zooming past trying to shoot, it gets the valet driver. But of course, we have Dr. Whitlock here, so she goes straight into action. And at first, he tries to send her away when Dante pulls up with somebody else, and she refuses to go. And I forgot, while she was getting dressed, she got her own gun that she brought with her. So while he expected her to be crouched down low, she was actually like right beside him with her gun, like, who we busting at? And he comes over like, I need you to get in this car. And she's like, I don't appreciate you trying to send me away like a little child. At least have a conversation with me first, and then I'll go. And so that's what happens. And she don't tell nobody, but it's like, it's the mafia world. Word gets around fast. But when they find out who was shooting at them, Dante asks uh Luca, like, I need you to do me a favor, like, don't go too crazy. And that's the thing about Luca. Like, Luca, they deem him a hothead, but I just call it, he ain't going for the bullshit. And so he asks Dante does, excuse me, like, I need you to reel it in. And Luca's like, who is it? Who in there? Because they got him tied up. And he's like, my brother, but it's technically not Dante's brother. They grew up in the system together, so they were close at one point. And his name was Jackson. Jackson was even part of the life at one point, but his dad told him, let him go, let him be free, because he done lost his way. But and see, that's the good thing. Luca's smart. He was like, I never believed that shit anyway. So he always had eyes on Jackson. So he know that Jackson got a woman and Jackson got a kid. So he like, you don't want to tell me the information I want to know? Okay, I'm gonna go pick them up. And of course, here go the line. They have nothing to do with this. It's me. It's me. It's like, if you ain't want your family involved, why would you do this bullshit? And so he knows that Luca does, that this is Buck's doing, because Buck sending the word out like, tell Luca that it's Buck, like basically saying, I did it, put my name on it. Because I forgot. A little boy showed up. He was like 14 or 15, telling him, like, I know the consequences of not saying anything when I knew something was going on. And so he was the one that sent the word, like, Buck is the one that put the hit out on your life. And so after he kills Jackson, because Jackson was the one that actually shot at them, and so he goes to meet with, if you remember last week episode, their dad has a brother, a white brother, who claims to not have known about his brother, and that this is new information for him, and he's the one that killed their dad and is claiming to want an alliance now. Buck was the dad's excuse me, right hand man. And so, what's his name? Is it Petro? Petro sets up a meeting with Luca, like, I want our families to work together. And Luca ain't falling for that. He like, no, I got my own connections. I don't need you. And if I find out that you behind the hit on my life, I'm basically, a life for a life. And he's just always been weary of Petro. He's like, I just don't believe none of that shit, that family shit he trying to push off on me. So him and Galina, they're getting closer. They're the missing puzzle pieces in each other's life. So it's like whenever they get together, all the outside stress of the bullshit they got going on, it just melts away. So she's at work and she goes to talk to Dr. Jones again, because like I said, she's her confidant. She'll just go and talk to her. But while she's in there, she knocks on the door, and when she's told to come in, Dr. Jones is meeting with the senator, the same crooked senator from the first book, Senator Michaels. So he get up to leave and he just staring her down. So when she tells Um, she tells Luca about it. Luca, like, he ain't liking it. He's like, that crooked motherfucker, I don't, and he involved in all type of shit, and he's staring at you like that. I don't like that. Um, so what's her name? I call her Gia. I still don't think that's her right name. The Moretti's cousin, she's like their hacker. She asked her to look into her father because she once again had asked her uncle, and it was just something about the look on his face where she told him, never mind, forget I even asked. But she's been dying to know about her father because nobody will talk about him. And so she comes up, Gia does, like when she finds out the information, she comes to tell her. And the thing is, her father is not dead, he's alive, and he's in prison. Her mother did not die giving birth to her. Her mother died because she was stabbed multiple times. And, she made it to the hospital just in time and told them, save my baby, deliver my baby. And she, died after that. But Galina is not the reason why her mother died. And although her father is in jail for it, some ain't right. And they don't believe that he actually killed her mother. Like, it's something else going on. And so she takes that information from Gia and she goes to see her aunt and uncle. And it's like, y'all lied to me. Like, tell the truth. So come to find out, her dad was studying to be a doctor, and he was doing his residency, I believe, in Pennsylvania. Yeah, because it was like they was apart for some time while he was doing that. But when he came back, they was gonna get married. Oh, I forgot her mom and her aunt, they were identical twins. So while her aunt was off with Dimitri, setting up that life, her mama was pregnant with her and building with her daddy. But while he was away doing his thing with the residency, her mama met Senator Michaels, and he basically became obsessed with her, even though she told him, like, we can only be friends. I'm in love with somebody else. But he was like, nah, I want you. I can help you leave him. You don't need him. And she told him no. And one night he showed up to the house and he was stabbing her, and the dad was there, but he couldn't, like, basically he couldn't fight him off, excuse me. And so there's also a councilwoman. I forgot about this. I don't know how, but she basically like has a hard on for Luca. His restaurant that he has a restaurant, and then he also is building inside of Enzo's hotel, like another location. She wants money off that, but that's like his one pure business. Like, there's no money laundering, there's no like room in the back, for people to get killed at. It's like, this is a legit business, and she's been like riding him for him to pay her, and it's like, pay you for what? No. And they've been holding up like other contracts and stuff he's been trying to get approved. But come to find out, the councilwoman and the senator are brother and sister. Not technically, but their parents were married for like a brief time. And after that, he blackmailed her because she couldn't pass the bar to be a lawyer. So he helped her do that. And basically, she's been in his pocket ever since, which means she was sending people to jail that did not deserve to be there, including Galina's daddy. So Luca asks her, like, what do you want to do? And she tells him, I want the people who have something to do with this dead. And he's like, boom, no problem, baby. So she got to kill the councilwoman, and the senator was arrested for fraud, and he was like in jail, but in jail he was unalive, so he died in jail. And Luca got her daddy out. He like, you want him out? He finna be out. And because once again, and I loved it. I loved it. Luca, of course he went to college, and his major was criminal justice, which for some reason just amazed everybody. But it's like, why would it? If you're gonna be a good criminal, you should know the law and know how to work your way around it or work within the confines. I was like, that's perfect. It's genius. Um, what else? So it's her birth. Her birthday is coming up. Her birthday is in October. Same girl, and his is in November. So celebrating her birthday first. He, what did he get her first? No, she got her hair done first. He showed up. He paid for her hair done. He threw her a surprise party because he told her it was the grand opening of the restaurant in the casino, but it actually wasn't. It was a surprise party just for her. And he proposed, which he had been telling her like basically since they got together. He like, you gonna be my wife, like, and kept asking her marry, like saying marry me, and she's like, when you ask me properly, I'll say yes. So this was proper. He got down on one knee, beautiful ring. He bought her a building because she was going to choose the same place her dad was doing his residency in to work at. Um, but Luca's like, how about you take this building and make your own clinic and, do the things that you want to do your way. And then as she's looking through the building, when she comes outside, her dad is there. And, they embrace. It's such a warm embrace. And I forgot, she made up with her aunt and uncle at the party because she wasn't talking to them for a minute, which is to be understood. It's like, y'all kept this secret from me. I need some time to process and to digest this situation. It's not like, because her love for them runs deep. So it's like, it's not like we never gonna talk again. And it wasn't like y'all had ill intentions, because that was the daddy's thing. The daddy took the charges and just told them, look out for my baby girl. Don't tell her nothing about me. Just look out for her. Make sure no harm comes to her, excuse me, and I'll do this time. And just let that be that. And plus he was also like on a guilt trip of, I couldn't save the woman I love. So basically I deserve to be here anyway. Because when Luca went to go visit him, he asked him, he was like, what you want to do? You can stop this little pity party and come home, or you could stay in here. Like, what you want? Because I can make it happen. So he was like, I want out. So boom, that's how he got out. But yeah, so they embraced, and she's just like, oh my God, I waited for this day for so long. And of course, she's like, I can't be mad at my aunt and uncle. So everything's great. So the book ends with, it's Luca's birthday. So she basically tries to return the favor. She takes him out to breakfast. She takes him to the mall. Like, he's just spending all this money on him. And he sit back and he noticed, and he like, oh, my girl got a little change. That because I guess like she just, it didn't say specifically like how much money, but with the type of life they live, I'm pretty sure she dropping bags. And so then she takes him to a motorcycle store because they ride motorcycles. And got him like a custom bike. And there's a quote from his grandmother on the bike that I thought was really cute and dope. Because I forgot to, when they first met at the gala, when she was at the bar, she got a drink, she got a whiskey. And so he told her, there's something about a woman who drinks whiskey. And at first, she asked him, like, what does that mean? And he walked away from her that night. And then when they were building their relationship, she asked him, like, what does that mean? And he said it really didn't have any meaning to it. It was basically just game he was running. But when he proposed, he said that his grandma would let him sneak like a sip of her whiskey. And he just knew whenever he met the woman of his dreams, if she drunk whiskey, like basically she was a keeper. I don't have the exact quote. I wish I did. It would have made it better. But anyway, so back to his birthday. And then so she basically shut down a part of the city where people could come out and ride their bikes. So he basically had his own personal racetrack for the night. And he was real impressed. He was like, she running my city like I don't run this motherfucker. So then she pulls him to the side and is like, I have one more surprise for you. And he like, damn, you just pulling out all the stops, ain't you? And she's like, yeah, you're going to be a dad in about 7 months. So no more whiskey for me. And he like, what? And he been looking forward to it because, they've been having sex unprotected. So he just been waiting on the day. So on his birthday was the day, and he's just like super ecstatic about it. It's just like, yes. Oh, I forgot one thing about um they daddy Moretti. So it's time for him to step down pretty soon. But he's just sitting back and watching. And I think that was the tug between them. Like Luca is ready to step up, and he's no longer looking to answer to anybody, like not even his daddy. But technically the daddy is still in charge. He hasn't stepped down yet. So when he was shot at, the daddy, they was off on vacation. He came back and he was like, why didn't you call and tell me this? And Luca basically told his daddy, like, it ain't nothing for you to worry about. I had it all taken care of. And Daddy Moretti told him, you must be out your motherfucking mind if you thought I wouldn't feel a way about hearing my son had been shot at. Like, what you want to do? And in the end, he also took care of Petro. Because it's like, that territory that Petro was trying to take over, because it was him behind it, because they caught up with Buck, and Buck um was trying to get revenge on the Morettis, because Petro had lied and said that Daddy Moretti was the one who ordered the hit on. It was Petro Senior and it's Petro Junior that's still alive. So it's like, nigga, you tried to kill your own daddy for like some takeover shit, and it didn't work out in your favor. So pretty soon the Morettis are gonna have a lock on New Jersey as well as New York City. And that's it. And I will see you guys next week for part 3 of the Mafia Misfits. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.